Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Alternative Ways in Service for November. Today, we're going to be talking about alternative ways, who we are, what we do, our philosophy, the methods that we use for our teaching and training. But first of all, we need to talk about the philosophy of alternative ways. Our primary goal is the provision of services and supports which allow the consumers to maintain independence in our community. Our mission statement here at Alternative Ways is the following. The purpose and goal of this service is to maximize the quality of each consumer's life while promoting independence, individual freedoms, and choices. We do that by using active treatment. Active treatment is our basis of our whole program. Our role as direct service providers are teachers and trainers. We're not babysitters, we're not transporters, we're not a daycare system. Our role is to promote independence and assist the client in becoming as independent as possible. We're not here to take care of them, we're here to teach them to take care of themselves. Repeated teaching and training is the most effective way of achieving skills success. And that's what we want to do. We want the client to achieve and make progress on the goals that they've chosen to work on. The methods that we use to provide teaching and training is active treatment. Active treatment, the definition, is an aggressive, organized effort to fulfill each client's fullest developmental capacity. You need to get that imprinted in your goal in your minds. You're going to see that kind of all over the office. It's kind of going to be our mantra, getting people used to what active treatment is and saying those words and being able to identify to your case managers, what is active treatment? What kinds of goals am I working on with the clients? Are they making progress on their goals? So back to active treatment, the definition is, again, an aggressive, organized effort to fulfill each client's fullest developmental capacity. We want them to be all they can be. The aggressive part of the definition means that we're always teaching and training. Everything that we do with the client, the whole time that we're with the client, whether it be taking the client to the doctor or grocery shopping, all those are skill training times that we can do skill training. Almost every aspect of a daily routine can become a setting for skill training. If you're driving down the car or driving down the road headed to the grocery store, there's teaching and training that you can do while you're there. You can talk about using the bus. You can talk about bus stops and where would you get off of the bus if you were going to Walmart. There's teaching and training done in every time we can be with our clients. The organized part of the definition means that the goals that we work on with our clients are discussed and agreed upon with the IDT team. An ID team consists of the client, maybe a family member of the client, if the client so chooses to, a CVRC worker, a case manager here at Alternative Ways, and a direct care service provider along with the clients. You guys have been there, you've been to Quarterlies, you sit down, you talk about the clients, you talk about their goals, you talk about the goals that the client wants to work on, their progress. Are they making progress on their goals? If not, why? A lot of that's being done also in the face-to-face, so you have a lot of input in the goals that the clients are working on, but ultimately it is the client's choice to decide what goals they want to work on. The methods that we use to implement the active treatment, the teaching and training that we do, are self-help critical skills and individual critical skills model. So the self-help are just the activities that a client initiates and does on his own behalf. We want the clients to do for themselves what they can. If they won't or they can't, we'll step in and assist them. Our role is to work together to increase the client's participation in living day to day. Individual critical skills, those are the skills we teach in a variety of settings. Those are your budgeting skills, those are your shopping skills. And there are three things that the critical skills that we work on have to be. Number one, it has to be age appropriate. Number two, it has to be taught in its own environment. And number three, it has to be functional. So back to number one, age appropriate. All the teaching and training that we do for our clients has to be age appropriate. If we're, having them practice writing their writing skills or budgeting their checkbooks or those kinds of things, we don't give them colors to crayons to use. We give them regular pens as adults to use. We as adults don't use crayons. You take them to a park for an outing or to get some exercise. We're not swinging on swings and things like that. It has to be age appropriate. Taught in its own environment means that the active treatment, the teaching and training that we're doing with our clients has to be done in its own environment. So things like we don't build a little bus in their home and practice handing the money to the bus driver, okay? We don't build a little play store in their house and have them practice buying things. No, we take them out into their own environment. We take them to the grocery stores. That's where they practice making their purchases. It's not fake stuff. It's in its own natural environment. The last thing that the critical skills of the teaching and training that we do has to be functional. There has to be a reason that we're working on that or that the client's working on it. Does it matter if the client knows how to tie their shoes? Probably not. I mean, if a client needs to learn how to tie their shoes, buy them Velcro. There's probably something more of a priority that they need to work on other than tying their shoes. So, when the goals are created, when you're talking about what the client's working on, they have to be functional. There has to be a purpose. So remember, active treatment is an aggressive, organized effort to fulfill each client's fullest developmental capacity. We want the clients to be all they can be. When we're talking about client goals, these are goals, again, that the IDT team, along with the client, agrees upon. The goals have to be measurable, time limited, and again, they have to be functional. So measurable means that we have to have some way to determine if they're making progress on the goal. And you'll hear the word progress a lot now, as it has in the past, but it's kind of now that we're kind of getting a little back past COVID, we're kind of getting back into the real original program, what we're supposed to be doing with clients. And the clients need to be making progress on their goals. The clients need to know what goals they're working on. So they have to be measurable. They have to be time limited. So you can't say we're going to learn to, write a budget or write a grocery list, and we're going to work on that for the next 12 years. No, it has to be something measurable, time limited, that, within the next 3 months, the client's going to learn how to write out a grocery list. It's measurable, it's time limited, and functional. There has to be some reason we're working on that with that client. So when you're working on and talking about progress on the goals, you're the teacher and trainer. You're the one that's in charge of teaching that client to be able to do the things that the working on the goals that they're working on. So if you're having difficulty in how to implement a goal or how to teach and train a goal, make sure that you touch base with your case manager. You're the teacher and trainer. So that client should be making progress on their goals. If not, why? Do you need to switch up the way that you're teaching it? Are the methods that we're using to teach the goal not touching base with the client? Is it not working for them? What is the reason? You can kind of brainstorm that through with your client managers. Does a client even know they're working on that goal? How does one make progress on a goal if you don't even know you're supposed to be working on that goal? So you need to make sure the client knows what they're working on and what goal do we want to reach. And you should feel very, very proud of yourself as teachers and trainers when that client hits those goals and they hit those milestones and they learn how to do that, and now they get to move on to something else. It's because of you guys. You're the ones that are out there teaching and training. So take some pride in what you're doing with your clients. Man, to get a client to be able to make a grocery list seems, oh well, to some of us, not to me, but to some people no, they made a grocery list. Well, heck no. I mean, people don't see where that client may have come from to be able to reach that goal of making a grocery list. That's something very important for that client, and they may have been working on for 6 months. So now they've reached that goal. So celebrate with them. Let them know, man, you did great. You reached that goal. They don't know what goals they're working on. They have no idea if they're making progress or not. Let's talk about CVRC. Central Valley Regional Center, otherwise known as CVRC, is our referring agency. They monitor all our clients' progress, their needs, etc. Most of you know that an IDT meeting is held every 3 months to talk about those progress. The working document that we use at Alternative Ways that comes from Central Valley Regional Center is called an IPP. An IPP is prepared by Regional Center, and it lists out pretty much everything that goes on with that client, including receiving our services and what categories that client is being funded for. So we may receive an IPP for Joe Silva, and he may be working on budgeting skills, he may be working on grocery shopping skills, and he may be working on medical dental skills. Those are the main categories that CVRC wants to fund us for, to work on those 3 categories with that client. So what does that mean? What is budgeting? What is grocery shopping? What is medical dental? Well, that's where our form that we use, that's called an ISP, Individual Service Plan. That's created by Alternative Ways. And how we create that is we take a look at what the regional center is telling us they want us to work on, those big categories, and we break those down. So under budgeting, what are we going to work on under budgeting? Is it, maintaining a checkbook? Is it budgeting a monthly budget? Is it, there are many, many goals and skills that can be taught under budgeting. We at Alternative Ways make that decision along with the client, along with the regional center, along with the family member, along with you guys, to decide what specific goals under that budgeting category they're going to be working on. So that's the individual service plan that Alternative Ways prepares. So you need to make sure that you know what those goals are that your clients are supposed to be charting or supposed to be working on. That brings me to our next thing, is the charting. At the end of every visit that you're with a client, you need to make sure you document. If you didn't document it, you didn't do it. I know our systems are not foolproof. I know that we have trouble with Case Magic, and it's just, it can be a struggle sometimes. We get it. But unfortunately, we have to have that data. That's how we prove to Regional Center that we worked on that goal. They're paying us to do it. They want to know what we worked on. They want to know if that client's making progress. The only way we know is by you guys telling us. So I always recommend to our staff, the last 15 minutes of your time that you're with that client, sit down with them. Talk about their goals. Talk about what you did that day, how they did. If they did really, really good, man, give them a cheer. You really did well on your goals today. I'm going to put that in your paperwork here that you did really good on that goal today. So you can also bill for that 15 minutes. That is time that you spent with the client, going over their progress, going over their goals, reassuring them, advocating for them. Bill for it. You need to get paid for those 15 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to kind of talk about some of the big categories that we talked about with the regional center in the IPP. That's an individual program plan, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but IPP from Regional Center is called the Individual Program Plan. So the categories of teaching and training, they can be self-help, they can be communication, they can be advocacy, they can be community resources, things like, when you're talking about community resources, WIC, using the libraries, banking, those are big categories. But then you have the underneath categories, that alternative ways makes it into goals. We take those categories and make it into specific goals, like community resources. That's a big category. Banking is underneath that. So, okay, what part of banking does a client need to work on? Is it to be able to use their ATM card? Is it to be able to sign the back of their check when they're depositing money? Is it to be able to balance their checkbook at the end of the month? There's a lot of different goals that can be under that big category. So that's active treatment, folks. You need to make sure that you know the client's goals, that the clients know their goals. You know how to implement the methods and how to teach those clients' goals. If you don't, you need to get with your case manager. You guys meet, you're face-to-face. If it's not for a while, you need to get with them soon and say, hey, I don't know how to implement this goal. I need some help with this. They'll be happy to even come out and shadow with you. We do have a trainer, Chris Henderson. Hi, Chris. He's our trainer, and we'd be happy to schedule you some time with him so you can kind of see how he implements active treatment. We are totally open to that. We want to make sure that you guys know what you're doing out there and that you feel comfortable in the teaching and training that you're doing. So make sure if you're having some issues and your clients aren't reaching your goals, we are going to be coming to you and saying, hey, how come they're not making progress on this? Is it too difficult of a goal? Are you not understanding how to implement? Does the client just not want to work on it anymore? There's a variety of reasons that the client may not be reaching their goals. So that's active treatment. Be prepared when you come around to your face-to-face or popping in the office that we say, hey, what's active treatment? And you need to be able to say, active treatment is an aggressive, organized effort to fulfill each client's fullest developmental capacity. And we're going to say, well, what does that mean? You're going to say, we want them to be everything that they can possibly be. And we're going to say, tell me some stuff about critical skills, the goals that you're working on. And you may have to say, they have to be age appropriate, in its own environment, and functional. So our whole job out there is to not take care of clients, to not run them around, to not be a babysitter or a daycare. There is purpose to what we're doing out there. And you guys, we appreciate everything you're doing. If you need more help in figuring out what active treatment is and how to implement everything I've told you, these are words. You guys do the service. So if you don't understand what all this means, please, 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 especially your new ones, make sure that you know what goals your clients are working on and how to implement their goals. Thank you. Have a great day. Happy holidays, by the way.
you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.